We have a major theft that has just occurred at another big card show. Tens of thousands of dollars in cards and cash stolen in a targeted operation. We're going to give you all of the details and a new update next. Hello, sports card investors, and welcome to another episode of Cards on the Table. Teapot Doug. Man, I hate talking about this. We've had to talk about this repeatedly this year, but we're going to talk about it again. We've got another big card show and another major theft. This time it happened at the Philly Card Show, which is a big card show that takes place a few times a year. We've been to it before. Good card show, but not so good for criminal activity, because apparently it has actually been a problem repeatedly at this show, and it struck again in a big way this past weekend. So what happened? This came from Granite State Cards on Instagram. He was set up as a dealer at the card show, and he left the card show, took his cards, took his cash, went to dinner, locked them securely in his vehicle. While he was inside the restaurant at dinner, his vehicle was broken into, the cards were taken, the cash was taken, but it was broken into in such a manner that it led him to believe that it was somebody who knew what was in the car. They were specifically going for specific items, and they actually picked the locks. They didn't smash windows. Wow. They were very strategic about what they did, and he immediately notified the police. The police actually reviewed traffic camera footage from the area, and they were able to determine that he had been followed. From leaving the card show. Now, they can't see the actual doors of the card show, but they can see the traffic camera on the way out of the card show all the way to the restaurant. And he was followed by a particular car. He goes into the restaurant. The car is there at the restaurant. And from there, we can't see the specifics on the cameras, but it's believed that the people who had followed him got out of their vehicle, and once he was inside the restaurant, they attacked his car. They knew exactly where the cards and cash were, likely because they saw him get in his car. It's possible that they were in the card show, possible that they were watching him pack up, possible that this was a coordinated effort the whole time through. $26,000 worth of cash, around $20,000 worth of cards stolen. I'm going to put up on the screen just a long list of cards. We're going to scroll some of them right now on the screen, because if you see any of these cards, please contact the police, and please contact Granite State Cards on Instagram. But this is apparently not the first time that this Philly card show has had issues. I messaged with another Instagram user, Rems Cards 6876. He claims that there have been 15 different robberies. He himself says that he lost $74,000 in cash at the Philly show over the last couple of years. So this is apparently a repeated problem. And of course, this comes after a pattern of these types of incidents this year. We saw $2 million worth of cards stolen at the Dallas card show earlier this year. Nobody has been arrested for that theft, still unsolved. We saw a bunch of cash stolen out of a vehicle in the parking lot of the National as a dealer was unloading, and his car stuff was taken out of his vehicle. And we've seen other thefts this year as well. We had an auction house, Memory Lane, lose $2 million worth of cards to a theft at a hotel. Thankfully, those suspects were recently arrested and convicted for that. But my question to you guys, have we reached a crisis point? Like, is this the state of the future? We've talked about it a lot this year, but is the industry ever going to start taking this seriously and treat security at these events differently than before? Teapot, I'm going to start with you today.
I mean, I feel like we need like a 5K or something to spread awareness. Like, I'm being a little cliche, but we need like a PSA, a public service announcement. I think everybody should assume that if their cards and if their cash are not on their person, they're going to get stolen. Just assume it. Don't leave it in your car. Don't leave it somewhere at the show where somebody can see it. Be circumspect, be really careful. Every time one of these things has happened, I've had to say, look, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to their person. I feel for them that they lost their cards, but like, how did this happen? You left your cash and your cards in your car. At least bring the cash in and keep it on your person somehow securely. When I bring my cards, I don't have anywhere near this. Like it's a couple $1,000s at the most. Like when I go to the National or something, I keep it on me. I go into the restaurant with it. It's in my Zion case. It's in my suitcase. I can see it at all times. I get paranoid leaving stuff in my hotel room if it doesn't fit into the little safe that I can put the combination on, because I'm afraid somebody somehow can get into my hotel room and take my cards. It's just you got to have like a healthy paranoia about the whole thing and just keep it on you at all times. Obviously, somebody following them, that's just an eerie feeling. That's really uncomfortable to even consider. When we were getting ready to open Cards HQ and we were doing all the planning for 6-8 months, one of the things we talked about was security, because we had that glut a couple years ago, seemingly every week, of a card shop getting broken into. Some here in Atlanta, all over the place. And we looked at all the different ways that we needed to make sure to secure the card shop. You have to do that. On whatever scale, you have to do that. You have to keep your stuff safe. Otherwise, when there's a lot of money involved, somebody's going to look at you. They're going to go, hey, I can see that person's not being very circumspect. They're not paying attention. They're just going in to eat chicken wings, and kabang, I've got their cards and I'm moving on. Did they get their license plate on the traffic cameras?
I don't know. Actually, that's a great question. Hopefully the traffic cameras did.
Yeah.
I don't know. At what point do card show organizers have responsibility here, though? I mean, if this is something that reportedly has happened repeatedly at the Philly Card Show, and they're not the only one. We've had issues at other card shows. I will say I was at the Dallas Card Show recently, and I feel good about their security. They had multiple police officers on site, and they were doing, in the lobby, in the show itself. They had added additional cameras to the show floor, more than they had in the past, and they were doing better enforcement of badges getting in and out of the show floor than I've seen at any card show in recent memory. So they at least have tried to step up their game even further, it seems. I wasn't at this last Philly show. I don't know what their protocols have been, but at what point do card show organizers have to step up their game in addition to people kind of becoming more aware themselves and taking account for personal security? What are your thoughts on this, Doug?
This is something we talk about a lot, and probably could become a recurring segment on this show.
Kind of has.
Yeah, it really has, but we need to come up with a catchy title for it. Obviously, Philly is a show that's been targeted. Dallas is a show that's been targeted. The thing that I don't really know the answer to is, you say Dallas has taken some measures to increase a security presence and more cameras. At what cost does that come? Where does that cost come from? Are vendors having to pay more for their tables? If so, are they having to charge more for their cards to make up for their operating costs? Are they charging more for tickets for people to get in? Like, there will be a point where you can't keep adding more security because the cost won't make any sense. It really comes down to self-accountability, period. Yeah. Because a lot of these scenarios, those measures won't help. The thing that we're talking about right now, you could have had a security guard at every single table and a camera on every single table, and that wouldn't have helped this gentleman. This is something that he probably felt super safe. He's away from the card show venue. He's completely, separated from that. And maybe he has, if he's a vendor, maybe he has more than just one Zion case, and it was a lot to bring into a restaurant. I'm as paranoid as you are. I'm bringing my stuff with me, but I've got one backpack, right? This guy might have, a rolling cart full of stuff for all I know. In which case, you're not going to bring that into a restaurant, of course. So there's a lot that goes into that, but what do you do? I mean, you just it's all about self-accountability. No matter what security measures a venue takes, it comes down to yourself. And I'll use the exact same verbiage as you did. You got to stay paranoid. Yeah. There's no other way to put it, unfortunately.
You could get takeout, eat in your car, take the stuff back to your hotel room, and then go out to dinner. Like, a lot of different ways to. I would not. When I first came to Atlanta, I'm not from a big city. I come to Atlanta. We were going out to downtown to dinner, and I had my backpack and laptop in the back seat, and somebody thankfully was like, yeah, no, you need to bring that with you. Just somebody will smash the window out and take your laptop if they can see it through the window. It's just a reality.
That happened to me.
And that happened to Doug at our office. And wasn't like daylight too? Or
oh yeah, it was like 5 in the afternoon.
Yeah. Just so it happens. So you just got to be careful.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we have to deal with this, but it is the reality of the situation, and this story just keeps repeating itself. I hope that people are more vigilant, and I hope that card show operators take this more seriously going forward. We're going to continue to bang the drum here every time we hear this, because it helps get the word out, and it helps hopefully people out there hear it. Hopefully collectors and dealers are a little bit more mindful, and card show operators maybe think as they're planning their next one about how they step up security a little bit so their show doesn't get featured on this on this show for the wrong reasons. Let's feature card shows for the right reasons, not for the wrong reasons, which unfortunately we've had to do a lot recently with these thefts that have occurred. Okay, we got more bad things happening we got to talk about. We got breakers who are opening Prism football early. And I spoke out about this. It kicked up quite some controversy. We're going to talk about that in a second. Also a new owner for Beckett. But first, I want to let the audience know about the Arena Club slab packs this week. These things, they have juiced up even further. Their Ruby Basketball slab pack that's dropping tomorrow, Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. You have the chance of hitting a $15,000 card show shopping spree as part of that Ruby slab pack drop. That will allow you to choose any card show in the United States in 2025. And Arena Club will join you at that show. They'll give you $15,000 to spend on cards at that show. Wow, that's quite the little golden ticket to add into a slab pack. In the Ruby football packs, they've got an incredible Lamar Jackson 2018 flawless rookie patch auto 1/1. In their baseball Ruby slab packs, they've got an incredible Shohei Ohtani 2018 finest auto plus a Babe Ruth 1933 Gaudy PSA 2 in combination that you can hit in that pack. They, of course, have their Super Grail sweepstakes continuing through the end of the month, where every dollar you spend on a slab pack gets you an entry for a chance to win tickets and travel and accommodations to the big game in February. All of this and more. And the best part, if you haven't tried the Arena Club slab packs yet, if you use promo code SCI20, you're going to get 20% off your first purchase. All you need to do is download the Arena Club app and then use promo code SCI20 when the slab packs drop Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Okay, let's talk about this situation with breakers breaking early. So Prism football release day was yesterday. That is the day that the world is supposed to be able to get their hands on Prism football hobby boxes for the first time. Breakers can open them for the first time. Card shops can put them out on the shelves for the first time. And of course, collectors can buy them for the first time. But not everybody has respected release day. And somehow, some people got the boxes several days early. Not a day or two early, but 4 or 5 days before release day, we had multiple breakers on Whatnot and some of the other streaming services opening up Prism football hobby boxes. Not first off the line. First off the line, some people do get early because Panini ships them early. But hobby, which is a strict embargo on opening the product until release day, which was yesterday. And one of these breakers, SZN Sports Cards, actually in his break declared that it was Christmas because he got the boxes early. And if you don't tell, I won't tell is exactly what he said to his audience on the streaming platform he was on.
Christmas came early, fellas. Christmas came early, fellas. Get everybody in here right now. Get everybody in here right now. Prism Hobby on the table. I won't tell if you don't.
And then, of course, he proceeds to pull the Brock Bowers Prism Black Finite Image Variation 1/1. One of the biggest cards in the product, one of the best rookies of the year, third in Rookie of the Year voting right now, according to Vegas odds. And he pulls one of his 1/1s in the product. So, that type of thing takes a little bit of the wind of, out of the sails. We've now seen multiple 1/1s pulled before release day, although some of those came out of first off the line boxes. So my question to you guys, by the way, I posted a reel about this, and I was chastised in the comments by a lot of people. There were a lot of people that said there's nothing wrong with this. If I had the boxes, I would have opened them up early too. Not true. And I was just simply jealous of this guy that he was able to get the boxes and Cards HQ wasn't able to get the boxes early. Not true. Because Cards HQ, by the way, we get the boxes, not Prism Football, but a lot of the other products, all the Topps products, we get multiple days before release day. Right. And we always respect release day. And we never put anything out for sale and never do any breaks until release day. Yeah. That's the rule. That's what you do. So, but whatever. That a lot of people sided with them. So my question for you guys, am I in the wrong? Are they in the wrong? Do the manufacturers, are they in the wrong? Do they need to do a better job of preventing their product from being opened early? Doug, I'll start with you on this one.
I don't really think anybody's necessarily in the wrong here. There obviously is an embargo in place and rules involved, but once it makes it to a consumer, to an endpoint, do they really need to follow those rules? Is it that important? I've never done that. When I used to break, I would have product before embargo, and I never broke embargo. That was out of respect for my source of wax, because if they were to get caught breaking embargo, then they could get their Panini direct account suspended or even revoked. So, out of respect for my distributor, I wouldn't do something like that. This guy probably doesn't have a Panini direct account, or he would never do that, because it'd be directly tied to him. He could get that, he gets the suspended or revoked. He probably has a distro now that is upset with him. Like, you're going public, opening this product that we gave you early. That's not okay. But at the same time, like, it's good to be first. From a business perspective, first to market means a lot. He could probably, I'm not saying that he charged more, but he could charge more. There's no comps, no other break comps to compare it to. People are going to be rabid for the product. It's going to be the first opportunity they have to, participate in a break. Same thing with us. First to market means something.
It does.
If we put out a video, we want to be the first people
Absolutely.
to cover an event or break a story or whatever. So this kind of thing matters, and it helps spread awareness for your brand, helps your business out. This one, it has a bit of a negative light shown on it, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. I wouldn't do it personally, but I'm not going to go crazy if somebody else does.
So this breaker was clearly opportunistic.
Yeah.
But was he wrong? Or as Doug said, he had the product early. Did he just take advantage of an opportunity? Is the blame on Panini and their supply chain for getting him the product early? Teapot, make sense of this for me.
No, I think the blame's on the person who breaks early. You know what the release day is. He clearly acknowledged it. I think, how big of a deal is this? I don't know what scale I'd stack it up against. Not as big of a deal as theft and other things that are happening. But integrity matters. First to market matters, but integrity matters. And they have these release days for a reason. In a way, release day for any product is kind of like a little sacred holiday for that product. It's exciting. You get to see a whole bunch of it hit the market and get opened by breakers. One of the reasons why I don't always appreciate the way people demonize breaking, because it's fun to see this stuff hit social media and know that people are hitting these cards, and then you can go try to buy the card if that's what you're interested in, that type of thing. But I think this is always going to exist. Like, people are going to be opportunistic. If they get the cards, they're going to open them. I'm a big fan of publicly ridiculing them for it. I don't think they should do it. I think you were right to do that. Don't do that. Just play by the rules, homie. Like, it's just be a person of integrity, not one of these stereotypical breakers that so many people hate.
It's not really his rule. He doesn't have the account. I
think Whatnot and the other streaming platforms should crack down on this. And if your account is caught breaking product before release day, they should have a clearer partnership with the manufacturers. It's clear when the release day is. And if you're streaming on our platform before release day, you're kicked off the platform. That's what I think.
That's interesting.
I think they should have a really strong partnership with the manufacturers, without whom they wouldn't have a streaming platform, and get together and say, how can we help you? And not only that, it's for the good of all of their other breakers and sellers on Whatnot.
Yeah.
It's not fair to the 99,000% other people who didn't get the product to now be one step behind because somebody else jumped out early.
Well, I had multiple shop owners and breakers text me when I posted that and said, thank you for saying something, because it's not fair to us and the other shops and breakers that wait until release day, even though we have the product in our hand right this second and we could break it the same day this guy did, but we chose not to. We're following the rules, but we want everybody to follow the rules, because if certain people don't follow the rules, then the people who do follow the rules are at a disadvantage because the product is less valuable. Potentially big hits are taken out of it. And by the way, this has happened not just with Panini products, but it happened with a lot of Topps products over the course of the last year. Topps took this very seriously, I will say that. Topps had one of their town hall meetings with all of the dealers and very actively threatened everybody in the meeting that if they find that you are the source of any boxes that are being opened before release day, you will lose your Topps account. You will have your Topps account suspended. They were very clear about that. They're taking that very seriously. So they're looking to enforce it. I don't know how serious Panini, I don't know how much they care. Maybe Panini cares a lot about this. Maybe they really don't care at all. And it's have fun, in which case, okay, but it's going to be the Wild Wild West.
You put some time-censored ink bombs inside of them that if this package is broken before this date, it's going to explode with self-destruct.
That's good. Or if it's CT scanned, it can explode all over the CT scanner too. It could serve two purposes all at once.
We need security in many ways
There you
in this
go.
hobby.
There you go. Okay. All right. Now let's go to another topic that I would suggest is probably less controversial, although I'm not sure that will be the case after you get done with your takes here. We got dual downtowns, guys. We got dual downtowns. Panini introduced dual color blasts last year, and then this year they introduced dual downtowns. And I'll tell you, I got a very surprising reaction from my 13-year-old son Reeves when he saw the post about the dual downtowns, because last year when the dual color blasts came out, I was a little bit iffy on them. And Reeves said, Dad, that's the coolest thing ever.
No way.
And I'm like, what? And he goes, dude, you get a CJ Stroud and a Tank Dell dual color blast. That's so cool. It may not be as cool this year as it was last year.
Yeah, it's cool
but
for like 15 minutes.
Last year was really cool, apparently. They got quite the connection. So he was really excited about the dual color blasts. Well, this year, the dual downtowns come out, and I go home, I say, hey, did you see the dual downtowns? He's like, dude. He goes, why are they just like so watering down all these case hits, and they're just making so many case hits now? Like
Voice gets deeper,
they're
and
gonna make
suddenly
them.
he's got a little
That's what he's
more
doing. He's like,
wisdom.
dude, they're gonna like make all these case hits
Yeah.
not valuable anymore.
Yeah.
They make so many of them now. I'm like,
There you go.
Yeah.
well, that's a different response
There you
than what
go.
you said last year to the color black. Maybe he's getting a little more mature,
more
a
wisdom.
little more wise. But I don't know. Teapot, what do you think? Do you like the dual downtowns or do you not?
No.
Okay.
No. 2016 Studio was the first iteration of From Downtown. Steph Curry's PSA 10 is like pop 57. There's probably like 150 of those per player in circulation total. And that was Downtown. And then Downtown spread to other sports and they started coming out. And now it's like I put the Oprah meme on our chat of you get a car, you get a Downtown, you get a Downtown. It's not just all of us can now just get a Downtown, but you can get a Downtown in just about any freaking product now from Panini. There's a Downtown or a dual Downtown. It's in Donruss.
Yep.
It's in Donruss Optic,
Yep.
which, by the way, has like 5 parallels
Right.
of the Downtowns in it as well. It is in
Clearly Donruss.
Clearly Donruss
The
now.
acetate downtowns.
It's in Clearly Donruss now. It is in like Panini 1-in-1.
Yes,
Panini
metal
1.
downtowns.
And then it's also in the Costco boxes with the oversized downtowns, which people aren't listing as oversized, which is jacking up all of our market movers data because people don't list them correctly on eBay and other platforms. This is a joke. At this point, I am 100% convinced that people at Panini actually hate us. They hate the hobby. They are mad that Topps got the licenses, and they're trying to squeeze out every little last piece of money and just destroy everything that's been good about what they've done for the last 10 years, which, by the way, was a lot of really cool stuff and a lot of stuff that I appreciated and a lot of stuff that I'm going to miss and some products that I'm really going to miss. But they're ruining it all, Jeff, all of it. And this is a joke. This is a total joke. Why do we even need Clearly Donruss? Just put it in Donruss.
I don't actually dislike this nearly as much as Teapot does.
I don't like
Doug,
Sick of it.
I actually think it's okay. Doug, what's your take on this?
I'm good. He's got it covered.
There's like 9,000 downtown sales of different downtown cards.
There's
in
a
the
lot of
last year.
downtowns. There's a lot of
This
downtowns.
is just what everybody loves, right? It's multiplayers on a card. It's a horizontal card. It's taking a case hit and making it extremely common. To be honest with you, who does this appeal to? There's always going to be one player on the card that's collectible and valuable, and there's always going to be one player that's going to bring that down.
Yeah.
Unless you collect that specific team, then you're not going to love that. You're going to want just an individual color blast of the better player on the card. And it doesn't matter what sport we're talking about. And they're watering it down by a huge expanded checklist now. We're talking about Prism football. There's like 47 or something color blasts. 46, 47. It's a huge checklist.
Huge checklist.
And they have really reached on some of the names. There's a dual color blast that's Leatu Latu and Zaire Franklin on the same card. Is there a
Wow.
huge demand for that?
No.
Are people begging for those defensive players to have a dual color blast?
No.
We're really reaching on some of this stuff.
Yeah. I don't mind the concept of it. I think the dual color blast
That's
is kind of a cool concept.
fine.
It's the greater issue of now there's just so many,
Yeah,
so many. And then, of course, ultimately all that's going to lead to is a lot of these downtowns, a lot of people losing a lot of money
Yes.
on the secondary market trying to buy and sell these downtowns. Because ultimately there's so many of them, so many different variations, so many different sets, so that ultimately they're kind of becoming watered down and just not that interesting
Part of the
anymore.
reason why precious metal gems command such a premium now is because you only had them, and very different ones, by the way, from 3 different years.
Yep.
That was it. You had 3 different years with, well, really 2 years with different designs, and those are kind of sacred in their own right, and that's why. If they had made those year over year over year, and by the way, had increased the number of different colors and increased the print runs, which is frankly what Upper Deck has done with the Marvel stuff now, because they now have them in every single Marvel Metal product that comes out every year, so it's watering it down. We've done videos talking about what cards from the Panini era do we think have the best chance to withstand the test of time. What are the PMGs of this era going to be? And we've said Kabooms, Downtowns, and Color Blasts. But how do you argue that now when people are just going to see that there's all these different Downtowns and things? It inherently gives you a substitute for that's cheaper, maybe with a higher print run, which puts price compression downward on even the older ones because of awareness, because people just go, well, I don't want to pay 10x for that one that was pop 50 when I could have this one that's pop 5 trillion and have it for, a fraction of the price. And that's
You know what's coming. I'm going to predict
Triple?
it right now. I'm going to
Triple
predict it right
Kabooms?
now. No, I'm going to predict it
Oversized Kabooms, hot air balloon Kabooms.
coming in 2025. It's going to be the Panini Midtown.
Well, they have Uptown and Downtown. I don't see
Panini
why not.
Midtown's
Panini
coming.
Midtown.
Panini Uptown's coming.
Yeah.
Midtown's coming.
My favorite is
Just pair it with the
Stairmasters.
downtown.
It's called Stairmasters, and it's usually just players going. And it doesn't make any sense. Mosaic Stairmasters.
Oh,
Check
this
it out.
is. I like Panini. Why are we picking on Panini?
I
so
want
much?
them to
I
be.
like Panini.
It's just like
We're
our
picking on
conversations.
Panini.
It's
Okay.
This is the conversation you would have with anybody that you love.
That you love.
And if you need,
Hopefully,
we need you.
we love them.
We need Panini.
We
love
love
and need
them, but
them.
we need them to
Really?
cut down the print
Please
run on
don't do
downtowns.
this.
Okay, one more topic today, guys. Beckett Grading has a new parent company. Beckett in general, not just grading, but all of Beckett has a new parent company. Obviously, we covered the story recently that the owner of the parent company of Beckett, convicted of fraud, is going to go to jail likely for many years. This leaves Beckett in somewhat of limbo at a time when they are in crisis mode anyway, because their number of grading orders has been dropping steadily. Now could they be having, what does this all mean, right? Well, there's been some reorganization. There's now a new parent company called, get this, Collectivus. Collectivus.
With little symbols.
Collectivus is a new parent company. They've been reorganized underneath Collectivus, and this possibly, we don't know exactly what this means. This could really mean not much, but most likely what it's doing is it's trying to separate them out from the fraud and all that mess of the previous parent company. And it could now be setting them up to either be sold, and that's kind of the thing that most people are thinking, or maybe they can now go get new financing and that kind of thing because they're getting money back in the bank again because now they're separated out. My question to you guys, if this is the moment, if this is the one thing that then starts the process of them being sold, who do you want to buy them? What's the best outcome here? Is it Fanatics, who's rumored to have wanted a grading company? Is it one of the other grading companies? Should collectors scoop them up and put them next to PSA and SGC, who they already own? Should CGC scoop them up? Is there anyone else out there? What do you think this should look like, Teapot?
No, I think the scenario that would work out the best would be that Fanatics buys CGC and Beckett. And then I know people are going to go, monopoly, antitrust. But that's the nature of what's happening right now. And if you care about these brands and you really want to see them succeed, and you're one of the people who hates PSA, it's not me, but a lot of people do, then they want to see these other companies succeed. And in order to do that, you need to have brand power behind them. You need to have more marketing, more of these other things that we've seen. And honestly, the biggest problem any of these grading companies have is cards in circulation. So they need to find a way to just almost like force more cards into these graded slabs and get them back out in the market, make them more ubiquitous so that people are seeing them as a viable option instead of walking up to every dealer booth and seeing only PSA cards, or every showcase and seeing only PSA cards, or on eBay and only seeing PSA cards. That's what you have to do. You got to get it under a bigger company. We saw that PSA, our collectors obviously acquired SGC. I think they did that to then have control over the second most popular sports card grading company. So now they own the suitable alternative. So it's like they're playing winning on both sides of that. But I really chuckled when I read the Collectivus thing and just saw the little lines. I put into ChatGPT, give me 25 ridiculous names for grading company, holding company, and honestly, I don't think any of them were as silly as Collectivus. So I'd like to know what the thought was.
I like Slabulous.
behind this. Yeah, that one was
Slabulous.
Slabulous.
There you go. Slabulous.
Yeah, slabs and giggles.
Delightful.
Kind of like
Minty fresh.
Slabulous. That's great.
Yeah,
That's great. All right, all
that's
right.
that's a new show we'll put out.
So you're on
Slabulous.
board with this? Them selling to Fanatics? What is your thought
No
here, Doug?
way. What is it? Monopoly, antitrust.
Arr!
No,
Do
no.
not pass go.
That's not ideal. I do agree that I think that's what this is leading to. It feels like they're sort of consolidating the Beckett assets and preparing it for a new home. I would probably, if I had to choose, the reason I say no to Fanatics is pretty obvious. The whole ecosystem together is a little monopolizing, having every single aspect of it covered from production to breaking to vaulting to buy it now marketplaces to auction houses, then to the grading companies. Like, that's just a little too much under one roof, and trust issues start to stem from stuff like that. I would probably lean CGC if I had to pick one of these companies. They've got an established history of not just grading cards, but they have a pretty diverse portfolio. They do comic books and video games and things of that nature. And they're a bit more of a trustworthy brand. They've got an experience in this hobby. They've got an experience kind of reformatting, revitalizing their brand with changes to their grading system and things of that nature, things that Beckett needs. Ultimately, I want it to be a company that has been successful in the past, because I want Beckett to come back. It's been an institution of the hobby, and it should be revitalized. So I want it to be somebody that I can trust doing so. I don't want it to be a brand new company that doesn't have any kind of experience in this arena.
Yeah, I think those are good points. My point is, first and foremost, I want them to be bought. And I want them to be bought by really any of these companies. I see pros and cons to each. I don't love Fanatics for some of the reasons you just said, Doug. I'd put them a little lower on the list. I trust collectors a lot.
No.
Although it feels like collectors owning PSA, SGC, and BGS is a lot. But I trust them to run the company well and to run it with integrity and to revitalize them. So, CGC I think could be a good one. I more than anything else, I just want them to be bought by somebody. I think that's the most important thing here. So hopefully that's what happens. Hopefully Beckett gets restored. Hopefully Beckett slabs play a big role in the sports card future, because they played a big role in the sports card past. Beckett remains the biggest known name in sports cards now for 4 decades. So I hope that can still be the case.
Their
in the
booklet
future.
slabs play a really big part in the hobby. So I'd like to see those stick around too.
Maybe Beckett can innovate like Panini did, and they can come out with dual slab cards where they take 2 of your slabs and put them together into one slab, and it will be like some special limited short print
I think
slab.
there's better ways to do it, no
Probably
matter what.
is. That was awful. That was a horrible idea. Forget I said that. Hey, we appreciate you guys watching. Happy holidays to you. I hope you got to have a great Christmas, a great Hanukkah next week. We will be back here next week, but after you've done all those things. So please have a wonderful time. Thanks for watching and supporting our show all year. And if you enjoyed the episode, give it a like, give it a subscribe, and don't forget about those Arena Club slab pack drops tomorrow. Download the Arena Club app and use promo code SCI20 for 20% off. We appreciate you watching. Take care. Have a great night.